Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's Business Spotlight. I'm your host today, Todd Rodden. I'm a certified business and executive coach. I own Aspire Action Coach based here in the Dayton, Ohio area. If you're new to the Business Spotlight, we're thrilled to have you join us. I encourage you to not only enjoy this session, but also listen to some of the other great messages we have from other business leaders. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you make sure you'll receive those on a regular basis. So today, thrilled to have with us a very intriguing entrepreneur, a global entrepreneur, Sayu Abend, who is the CEO and founder of SpacePointe, which is a payments technology platform. I think you're going to find her message very intriguing, unique, but with lots of great insights to share as well. So, Sayu, welcome to the Business Spotlight. Take a minute, tell us a little bit more about you and the SpacePointe team.
Thank you. Very nice and very honored to be part of this. Any way I can contribute and help in my journey. And I always say my authentic journey. I always like saying it as it is, so that people can learn also from what I've learned as well. Started SpacePointe about 10 years ago, actually 10 years ago this month. And we really sought out to innovate around the needs of small business. It was, when you thought about point of sale 10 years ago, even before then, you always thought about what you saw in a Walmart or in a Target, all the, everybody always thought about the big guys. And when you think about the small guys, they always thought about small guys of how can we also monetize this same product with the small guys without really thinking about what the small guys needed. So one of the things that made me really go into this was we really felt we could do some inclusive development. So I'm an engineer by education, and one of the things I was thinking about was from a technology perspective, like what can we do for the small business? And we started in emerging markets. You will see them say, oh, we're going to make sure that every business is on a point of sale and all the transactions are going to be digitized. And then you look at them and say, but 90% of the businesses, for example, in sub-Saharan Africa, is informal sector. Some of them are making $2 a day. The lady who buys fruit down the street is going to turn around and go buy more fruit in the evening so that she could sell the next day. How are you going to give her a POS and charge her half of what she makes every day? Those are the things that we really started thinking about. Or she doesn't speak English. English is not her first language. How are you going to show her how to use a POS? So we started looking at that and innovating around their needs. We found, surprisingly, that we were solving not only for the small business, but we're actually solving for the big corporations in terms of their interactions with the small business. So for example, the government now saying, well, we need a platform to be able to collect taxes from people living in the rural areas. Well, we're able to have our platform be a point of sale for them, but talk to the small people, the informal sector as well. Or you find a company who's saying, I want to vend my products through your small business platform because your small business platform talks to small businesses in a way that it needs to talk to small businesses. So that was huge. So that's honestly, if you ask for what our why is, we are a payments fintech company that innovates around the needs of small business owners.
So maybe take a minute and talk through some of the you talked about starting in Africa, but now I know you've grown much beyond that. So talk through some of the other footprints that you're in.
So we started out in Africa for sure. And even though we were a company incorporated out of actually the state of Georgia, I made an assumption initially. I was like, it's a first world country. The small businesses are probably not having the same issues. They have so many options. But I started looking at things a little bit differently when we had some big partners say, hey, we really need to talk to the small businesses. I started finding out that there were a lot of things that were not really available. Like right now, or at the time we came back into the country, a lot of the platforms that were pushed into the small business hands were just like, hey, this is what the big guys have and this is what you're getting, not really thinking about what does it matter for me. Like a small business owner, somebody who has a bodega will think about, I want to make sure I'm collecting money, but I also want to make money. So what else can I give through the point of sale that's going to drive additional revenue for me? That's critical. How do I drive additional foot traffic? I'm hiring staff that English is not necessarily a first language. How do I have a platform that they can still operate fully well in their own languages and I can still run my shop and afford it? We started out in Africa and we're now in 16 plus countries globally. So that's kind of what we're doing. Again, it's really remaining focused on what do small business owners need. So thinking about, I'll give an example. Not all small business owners need a point of sale. They might use it on their laptops. They might not need a physical product. So they might use it, it might just be, how do I send invoices to my businesses without paying an arm and a leg for some platform that would, require me to have that. Simple like that. So we think about all kinds of issues around inclusion from price point, can they afford it? Inclusion from additional value-added services, inclusion from just, their own, what they need. So that's what we've done for the past 10 years. We've come from where we started, we're now processing about 16 plus countries.
Wow. A tremendous growth, right? And lots of complexity trying to manage in 16 different countries, like you mentioned, the different languages and all that. And also competing with a lot of big entrenched players as well.
Yeah.
So how have
Yes.
you been able to grow the business? I mean, what have been some of the key kind of marketing approaches to get you to separate yourself from that big, heavy competition?
Yes, we definitely do have big, heavy competition, but we've had some good help. It helps to have big partners too, so a lot of there are two strategies, right? One of them is direct to market. We go direct to market and say, this is who we are, this is our product. But some of our products are actually white labeled. So you might not know it's the same platform, but it's white labeled through very big partnerships out there. But here's the deal, is that I always say one thing. If you understand why you're doing what you're doing, if you understand your why and remain dedicated and focused on innovating around your why, you will stand a fighting chance, even amongst the biggest of names in the space. So one of the things we have navigated around is, I keep saying it, is inclusion. So to sell a point of sale in the US, the people who sell the point of sale are what they call the ISOs, the independent sales organizations. Those people are basically resellers of processing.
Right.
So what they do is, we're going to be your processing partner. So we have some really good processing partners out there who have taken a look at our platform and said, I really love it, has taken a look at our support. So when you talk about the processing partner, you know how you differentiate yourselves. It's basically your extended sales organization. But what you do is you pay attention to also their needs. So a salesperson is out in the street and wants to sell your product. What happens? The salesperson comes and says, hey, I have a merchant who has this restaurant. One of my operations team gets on the phone with them and does a demo. So you don't put them having to explain technical products to the merchants. We support our ISOs very, very heavily with that. We have actually paired them up with operations staff. They run through the demos with them, and answer any questions to make those merchants feel very comfortable with being able to push the product out. And then what we do is, our ISO partnerships are so valuable. They are the closest to the merchants on the streets. We listen. We listen to what the merchants are saying, not what we think the merchants need. What are the merchants saying? They said they want this way, or more people asking for this, more people asking for that. And our intent is not to nickel and dime the merchants. So everything we push into the market, hey, we're going to add, $20. So some platforms out there, some big competitors, you start out with $29 or $49.99. By the time you're done with everything you really need to run your business, you're doing a monthly tab of $200 every month. It now becomes expensive. Some competitors, to even get their starter package, you're paying $2,500 to $5,000, depending on what configuration you need. So it gets, so we're doing everything around pricing. We have so in terms of the strategy, number one is the ISOs, building a good relationship with them, supporting them through the sales process. That's one. Our pricing strategy is very, very key. Our features are baked into very, very transparent pricing. If we say it's $59.99 a month, then that's what it is. We're not going to sit down and say, by the way, you clapped your hands today, so that's another $14.99. It's very, very transparent pricing. Then we have our own OEMs that so we are closer to the manufacturing of our equipment. So we're not buying and from a third, fourth party and all that stuff. We're direct relationships with the OEMs. So that enables us bring affordable devices into the pricing. Then we talk about our pricing packages that we push out there. So we have everything from free equipment program, depending on what they're doing, to rent to own programs, to people who just want to buy it flat outright. So giving them options. We're not trying to create a barrier we're not looking at the small business owners as people who just want to monetize. We're really, really working hard to create a way for them to make it happen and make it work for them. The final one I'll tell you is that we are big on pushing value-added services through the point of sale. So if it's a grocery store, for example, the ability to sell prepaid products. You see a bodega down the street in New York, or a bodega down, people are walking in and they want to buy prepaid, they want to buy an Applebee's card or whatever it is. I have cash is the underbanked and the unbanked that will come in there and push the prepaid products. That's a way that they can make additional revenue. We give them the ability to house their own private label gift card. You have the beauty and spa. We just released the beauty and spa product. Beauty and spa, being able to give their own private label gift cards so that they can drive traffic in. That's another way. There are different ways. We're constantly pushing all kinds of things that we can vend through the point of sale for the small business owners.
Hey, thanks for going through that, because those are real practical examples. So for our viewers listening to this, so they're wondering, how does this fit with me if I'm a merchant? You see those real things that you can, really step up your capabilities and also clarify your pricing. And
yes,
yes,
transparent.
as you know, I have deep experience in payments as well, and it's a world built on add-on pricing. All right, so if you can simplify that, it's really it separates you from the competitors. So.
Look, Todd, it's better to have 1,000 merchants with you for the next 25 years than for you to have, I don't know, whatever, 1,000 merchants, and you have the churn every 3 months or whatever. It's so much better. So we're really focused, even when we are partnering with ISOs, we're very focused on ISOs that have the same commitment, because sometimes when you look at certain ISOs, they look like, some of them come across like used car salesmen. Let's just do whatever we need to do to get the small business. We don't like working with those kind of people. We like working with people who are really committed to doing right by the merchants. If we do it right, we make money and they make money and they're happy.
All right. So 10 years in, tremendous growth, different markets. You look back, what's been the biggest roadblock you overcame during that 10-year period? And, how did you do that? And what'd you learn?
Money. Money has been, it's very weird. Some people always say, you can start this thing, you don't need money. I'm not in terms of, how do we have money or whatever. Our biggest lessons, I think I'll say, when we talk as a management team, is we did get funding pretty quickly when we first started and everything else. But when you're planning for what let me describe it in this way. Say you have a certain amount of capital and you want to open, I'm just giving an example, a nail shop. It is better for you to even start validating that you do nails very well, that people will really like, than for you to go spend a lot of money opening a big shop. Then sit down and now wait for the traction. By the time you're waiting for the traction, guess what happens? You're blowing your money. So the first thing I would say was, what would I have done with money? I would have done it differently. We knew where we were going. We knew we had the technology and we could do it. But I would have said, we would have done some validation first. Kind of tested a little bit, did a little bit more testing. One of my vlogs I did years ago was don't drink your own Kool-Aid. And basically the fact that you feel, and I always tell myself, and tell my team as well, I said, at heart, I'll always be a product manager because I started in products. I love products, I design products and I do them very well. But I always say that no matter how great your opinion is of your Kool-Aid, if the market doesn't say it's great, it's not great.
Yeah.
So the first thing is you find out what you're doing, why. Then when you have that product or when you have that service you want to offer, test it first before you start blowing money on the, sorry for the noise. Test it first before you start blowing money on the, I'm so sorry. It's very loud, isn't it?
Okay. We're
Sorry,
good here. We're good on this side.
sorry, I want to like shut the windows really loud. Sorry. Test it first. So before you start going and start blowing money, whatever capital you have. So when I said money at first, it's not, oh, our biggest challenge was money. Our biggest challenge was how to spend the money you have, whatever that money is that you have to put into your business. How do you spend it? Make sure that you spend it validating your product or service in the market. And that gives you the assurance to be able to spend more on your route that you're taking.
Yes.
So that was a lesson for me.
That's a great insight. 'Cause a lot of folks early on, everyone's kind of cash strapped anyway. Oh, we don't have time. We don't have money or time to do that testing. We just need to get in the market, right, and go, right, and
The
that could
market
just
will
really
tell
bite
you,
you. Yeah.
yes, it's on YouTube. I found it somewhere, but it hit home so much. I was cracking up really badly, but it was, think about two boxers in a boxing ring. And before they're like announcing and, to my right is this player and to my left is this player, where one person was the entrepreneur on one side and the other person was the market. And the entrepreneur was the one that was jumping around and, doing all the bluffing. I'm going to take the market down. I'm going to do all this stuff. And then when they hit that bell, the market went like this in the neck and the other guy fell and was shaking on the floor. And if you've gone through anything like that as an entrepreneur, you understand that's so true. It's, you have the greatest of intentions. You just know it's going to work. And you need that. You need that when you start. You've got to believe in your own business, but don't believe in it so much that you're not testing the market to find out what the market is thinking about that business.
Excellent. So that's kind of looking backwards, and I guess good advice for going forward, obviously, as well. But as you look forward right now, what's the biggest challenge you have in front of you? If I could give you a magic powder and you could sprinkle on that, make that one challenge, but only one go away, what would it be?
So a challenge I'm facing now for going in the future, is, I think the main thing I'm solving for is understanding or driving that scale. We're going bigger. We're doing bigger things. When is it time? For example, right now, we're upgrading in the next couple of months to a bigger warehouse, to bigger offices in the Dayton area. So when do you decide it's time? So that you can prepare for business, so that business doesn't come and then you fall flat on your face. So now it's the growth, that scale. Having the conviction, or for lack of a better term, having the guts to stretch, because you know that your strategy is the right one and that windfall is coming. So how do you stretch?
Yeah.
That's what that balance is there. How do you prepare? How you want to go and become the biggest point of sale in America? You've got to have 24 hours customer service, and they've got to be on point so that no customer is left with any issue. How do you prepare? You've got to understand that. You've got to understand what the market is presenting to the small business owners in the country, but you also got to listen and say, the market is presenting this, but is that what you're asking for? And you've got to do a balance between them. So it's all about scale. It's how do you prepare for scale so that when that windfall comes, you're ready for it. If we didn't plan for the business we have right now, our business is the platform is processing in the billions every year, right? How do you prepare your platform to be able to handle that level of scale? All these other, they're doing probably, hundreds of thousands every month or whatever it is, but being able to handle the capacity from a technology perspective as well, then support, operations, then IT.
So that leads right into that. What's your vision, your dream, right? Obviously, it sounds like you've got some big dreams here,
Yes,
right? And you're seeing some of the need already to get out in front of that with investments and growth and people and facilities and that. So what's your dream? 3 to 5 years down the road, what do you see?
I want number one point of sale for small business. I know we have big players. It's not about big players. I always tell my team, product innovators, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. If you're listening properly and designing a product, you're making all the right. It's not about big players. Let me tell you something. A few years ago, before we had the EMV chip, there were big players. There were big players in the processing department in America. And then when it came for us to the EMV, everybody had to switch to EMV. Ingenico came and took everybody over. There are companies you can give all kinds. Where's the taxi company now where Uber was? Who was Uber? Could you ever think that a software company will ever take over the transportation industry globally?
Yeah.
It's not about fear. It's about preparation. It's not about also bluffing and making just saying words because you think it's cool. It's about doing your homework. It's about understanding your why, what the market need is, and it's about moving forward without fear. So that's what we're looking at. We know that there are big players in the market, but we also know where their loopholes are. We know where they're weak. And so without going, oh, we're going to go after the weakness. No, we're going to continue listening to the small business owners because that's who matters the most to us. And as long as we do that, and as long as we have those strong relationships with our ISOs and our bigger partners, we're going to make, our goals.
So thank you for that. I love that. Hey, it's not about fear; it's about preparation.
Yes.
Great advice. You've talked multiple times now about listening to the market, listening to your customers. How are you intentional about doing that? Lots of people say they do that, but how do you make sure
How are
you're
you?
doing that?
Remember when I said that one of our biggest distribution channels was through our independent sales organizations, ISOs? These people have salespeople on the streets that talk to the merchants every day. And then they'll come back and they'll tell you, oh, they said this. Like, I'll give you an example. We're going to, our platform supports restaurants, grocery stores, supports all kinds of businesses. We realized that for business, beauty and spa, the lifestyle, basically that's what it's called, is going to be called Ekicat lifestyle. For the lifestyle industry, it wasn't meeting all their needs. What was it? They didn't have a place to book appointments. They didn't have a place to say, hey, for this, for my technicians, some of them are going to be my staff and some of them are going to be contract workers. So what happens is you come in and say, hey, beauty and spa, they can use it. They can just add items to the cart. And then the ISO agents come and say, I've met like 15 or 20 of them that said, if only I had appointment booking, if only I had this, and I had a dashboard. They actually bring those merchants to you that would say, if I had a dashboard that did this, right? So then you start listening and you start saying, look, we can make this little tweak, and all of a sudden it becomes perfect for them. So we listen to the agents on the streets who are talking to us. We listen to the merchants directly who are talking to us. We do a lot of, so it's not just about, a lot of the publications and stuff that people put out there, some of them are being sponsored by big competitors who want to drive the market based on some article that they're pushing out there based on projections. It's very easy to get sidetracked. How many people have projected this is the wave of the future, and then nothing happens 5 years after, because they were trying to influence how things go. Small businesses are so authentic. They're dealing with everyday needs.
Yeah.
So that's our angle. Our direct salespeople, independent agents, ISO organizations tell us, and then we innovate around those needs. We actually have an ideas portal that we open up to our agents, and they put it in there. And every time we look through, and we now say, oh, this makes sense. We'll talk with the product team. We're going to add it to the pipeline and we're going to build that.
Excellent. Right. So many folks say that they listen to the market, but that's great. And finding what those other pain points are they have in running their business and being able to solve those, reaching beyond the traditional payment processing kind of piece. So.
Yeah. One merchant told me one time, 1 second, real quick. One merchant told me, said, one of our competitors said, they have probably about 300 reports. I only use like 2, and I wish I had this other report. So they just like put out all these reports, on there, stuff like that. Yeah.
So your team, you're in 16 countries. I think you shared you have employees on 4 continents. So maybe take a minute, share with folks, your team and how you lead a team like that, what you found have been keys to retaining and attracting great talent.
I'm very big on education, growth, um, inspiring my team. I don't have a lot of people I don't have a lot of churn. The development team I had 10 years ago is still with me. I don't have a lot of churn. I believe in people development. I believe in inspiring my team. I am not a CEO that works from afar. Any member of my team will tell you I'm a roll up my sleeves and get it done. Like right now, we're working on onboarding a bagel shop in Los Angeles. They really needed, they needed it rush. Guess what we're doing what I'm doing after this? I'm jumping in with my team and we're gonna like load up all their menu and make sure everything is okay because we've already shipped the device to them. So my team, very, very big on my relationship. My managers are the same way. Whatever directors. I have development shop in India. I have development shop in Lebanon. I have um, operations, product management, Nigeria. I have them all over. So it's just been, I've been very, very blessed to have a great, great team. I absolutely love my team. I don't believe in having so many people just fill our places. I believe in like really getting the quality. And whether you're a manager or you're an individual contributor, we all roll up our sleeves and get the job done. So any member of my team we talk to understand the vision. They know. Like, I'll give an example. I challenge my operations team. I'm like, don't listen to me. Be the advocate for the merchant. So I'll tell you this, if our pricing is off, it feels off to operations, they'll come back and tell you. They were like, it just feels off because this person is doing this and this person is doing this. Can we do this? They are the merchant advocates. Sometimes I will tease, I would like, I'm going to call that merchant and I'll tell the merchant is going to pay your salary next week because you're wanting us to give the whole, kit and caboodle for free and stuff like that. But it's just different groups. I'm like, then the product managers is, you've got to stick. And once we bring something and approve it, you make sure that it's top notch and it works very well. And the user experience is great.
So if you had to bring this all together, say, hey, what are your keys to success?
Keys to success. I would say number one is know your why. What are you doing? Why? What need is it solving? I heard that a long time ago, and it was very, very important for me to understand that. That's why you hear me say same thing consistent, right? We're going into the market, we're going to innovate around the needs of the small business. I'll say it and everybody will say the same thing as well. We're going to listen to them. We're going to build platforms. We're going to push that into the market for them. So know your why. Number two is test your product or solution in the market. Make sure that the market or your, let me say, addressable market is agreeing with you. Don't drink your own Kool-Aid. Know your why. Don't drink your own Kool-Aid and work as hard as you can to get where you need to get. So every member of my team, we're hard workers. We push, we know the vision. If you get those first two right, in all honesty, you'll find that your whole team is excited about it because they know that it's coming and they'll start seeing traction.
Great. Very inspiring, right? So before we hit the last question today, what are the best ways for folks to stay connected with you, to learn more about SpacePointe?
We have, our website will lead you to everything. We have social media pages. We have, our product is called the EkiCart, point of sale. We have social media pages. So spacepointe.com is a good starting place. Ekicart.com, EKIKART.com is a good, we have our store, we have blogs, we send out newsletters. So they can go online and sign up for our newsletters as well. And then we can, they can sign up for newsletters as well. And then we can, they can be getting all the updates. We're always sending all kinds of newsletters out every week.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Encourage folks to listen, to go ahead and do that follow-up and check in and follow. It's amazing the journey so far and excited about what lies ahead. So with that in mind, Sayu, as we go to wrap today, what inspires you today?
I hope I help somebody. The story I tell is not a fake story, doesn't make me a hero, but I hope it makes it worthwhile for me that a business owner that's going into business gets inspired, gets encouraged, learns from my lessons. I'm actually writing a book soon about that, just my authentic stories. I hope I help a business owner go into business and succeed in. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. My kid says, "You're just saying it like it's easy." I'm like, it's not easy. If I don't do something, it's not easy, but it's not impossible. So don't drink. I can't even tell you about it. Don't drink your Kool-Aid. People mess up and fail in businesses because they feel their businesses are going to work for sure. Be real to yourself. Tell yourself the truth. So I think that's the main thing. I like the fact that you're pushing these stories out. You're helping, you're inspiring people. I know that you also do business coaching and all stuff like that. But I think the main thing is that I really hope that this inspires people to be able to go after their dreams.
Well, again, thank you, Sayu, for sharing. So it's definitely an inspiring story. It's an authentic story as well, right? So we can see your passion for the technology, but also for solving, customer pain points, listening to the marketplace as well, and hard work, right? You got to bring
Yeah,
that
yeah.
to bear as well. So thank you so much, and thank you to our listeners. I hope you took good notes. If not, maybe you want to rewind back a few places here and capture those thoughts that Sayu shared here with you. I'm sure they can help you out on your entrepreneurial journey as well. So just a reminder to go ahead and follow her and SpacePointe team. And that's SpacePointe with an E on the end of point when you go to their website. Make that easier. But again, we encourage those folks listening to this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Like this video as well, but hit the subscribe button so you can receive future inspiring messages like you heard here today from Sayu. So Sayu, thank you. And to all our viewers, hope you have a terrific day.